I got mine.
I know, I haven't even reset it yet, but I only just.
It would have been October. I don't think it happened during the meeting, it was after.
Oh, yeah, you have to do it.
Yes. So I've got mine all done. I put mine on the calendar. A lot of people here for that.
We'll call the meeting to order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Ryan.
Here.
Kelly.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Here. Here. Need a motion and a second for approval of the agenda.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Two acknowledgements.
Okay, the first one I'm gonna do quick. This last weekend, Holly Demery took the oral interp team that consisted of John Bauer, Turner Bauer, and Erica Quinn to Yankton for the state oral interp competition. And they, as a team, received a Team Excellence Award, which is really good. And there's a nice little plaque in the office that they brought back with them, so I would just like to congratulate them. Those three students did an outstanding job. Holly Demery does a great job as their coach or their advisor for oral interp. So I'd like to acknowledge that group. The next acknowledgement on there, I'm going to turn this all over to Tyler Pickner, who is here from the Associated School Boards of South Dakota to present the school board with an award that I think was already in the paper, but we just haven't received the award yet. So Tyler, go ahead.
Hi, thank you all so much for having me here tonight. I'm thrilled to be here to present you with your Gold Level All Award. You all earned 520 points for this past school year, the 2018-19 school year, which is up from what you earned in 17-18, which was 395 for the silver. So now you're up to the gold. And so, like I said, I'm just ecstatic to be here to be able to present this award to you all for your dedicated work in enhancing your knowledge of what it is to be a school board member. It's dedication that no doubt is going to benefit your students, your staff, and your community. I know that we at ASBSD consider one of the great resources in South Dakota to be, if not the greatest, to be our public education system. And what you all did these two previous years and then this year to get 520 points just proves how dedicated you are to ensuring that that public education system here in Faulkton is great and will continue to be great. And like I said, you earned 520 points, and we don't just give those away. I mean, that's hard work that you guys have to do to gather all those points. And me being here tonight is just to say thank you for what you've done in terms of your work as school board members, and then for your students, your staff, and your community. And so, yeah, bravo to you guys for all your great work in the past year and the years previous.
I have a question, Tyler.
Sir.
Where did we fall? I know when we went to our region meeting, Wade talked about, he gave out some awards and kind of said where they were at as far as
Faulkton was in the top 20.
All right.
We had 24, 25 that earned gold awards, and you guys were inside the top 20.
Sure. Okay.
And so, yeah, if I could just present this to you and get a picture, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, Cam, you making the newspaper here, Cam? I got you.
We'll cover you, Val.
Yeah, it's just the board members.
And the business manager.
you wanted that, so.
Nice job, guys. Definitely congratulations. I'll say that you guys right now you've already earned bronze level and you're very close to getting to silver again, so.
Already?
Yes, already, so far. And so again, thank you all so much for letting me come here tonight and present you that award. Like I said, we at ASBS do want to thank you for all your hard work that you guys have put forward and all that you're doing for your students, your staff, and your community. I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Tyler, did you mention to everybody, I know Val might be interested, and the clouds might be, but how they earn points, what they kind of do? I know you gave the handout, but just kind of, would you just
Yeah.
maybe just a little bit say a
All-
few things about that?
All stands for action, learning, and leadership. And so boards earn points through attending our region meetings, our school law seminars, completing board training sessions, participating in the Legislative Action Network, which is just coming up real quick, so we'll be going at that again. Making sure that they appoint a delegate and have somebody come to our delegate assembly, which that sets our legislative direction for the previous year. Just a lot of opportunities and activities that take time and dedication to get those points and to enhance your knowledge.
Awesome, thank you.
Well, I'm going to step out. I got 3 little kids at home, so I'm gonna
Right on,
get back on the
Tyler,
road. But thank you all so much for having me. Have a wonderful rest of the school
Thank
year.
you.
Merry Christmas. Thanks.
Thanks. Oh, yeah. We probably should, we always, when we do an agenda, I always send out an email asking, if any of, like Craig, if he has any acknowledgements, and, it's kind of been busy here. The volleyball team, probably should acknowledge them as well. They were the 7th seed, went to the state tournament, upset the number 2 team on the first day of the tournament. They came back and beat Burke on the second day, and then played a really tough match against Northwestern, who I believe has been rated number 1 for most of the season. So our girls did really, really well in getting state runner-up at the volleyball tournament. And so, congratulations to them as well. They had a great tournament, a great season, and I think they bypassed a lot of people's expectations and brought home the 2nd place runner-up trophy, so they did a great job. So congratulations to them as well.
Conflict of interest waivers.
Just a reminder that Brian still has his waiver in place for anything that has to do with the new gym and the Economic Development Corporation. He'll listen, but he's recusing himself from any votes that may take place with that. We'll have one coming up tonight, so just as a reminder.
For open forum time. Go on to number 5 for consent agenda.
Yeah, if we could do an amendment to that. Is it?
Pull it, and we'll talk about it. So we'll vote on 5.1 through 5.7, except for 5.3. Need a motion, second to approve the consent agenda consisting of 5.1 minutes for the November 11th regular meeting, 5.2 minutes for the November 19th special meeting, 5.4 financial report for 2019, November 2019, 5.5 in-press report for November 2019, 5.6 trust and agency report for November 2019, and 5.7 presented bills for December 9th, 2019.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go back to 5.3, the minutes of December 3rd, special meeting.
I would just add, I guess, into that special meeting, like after the second open forum time, that the board doesn't know the validity of the patron statements or opinions after that, just so we as a board are covered and aren't approving that or claiming to have that information.
But you're still okay with
that would be the only thing is that when we, in looking at that purchase agreement, if we had any questions about it, we could ask Lori. And if it helps the board decide, I mean, if we don't need an executive session, we don't have to do it. I have it on there just in case we wanted to. Lori prepared the first purchase agreement. I think everybody here saw. We sent that to the Economic Development Corporation. They in turn amended it and then sent back the current one that's in the board packet. And I think the board's aware of what changes were made. Everything else is exactly the same. So the only additions are the down payment, and they took out the repairs.
I was questioning about having title insurance. That's in the purchase agreement,
I think that was an old one too.
so.
I brought all of them to look at. That was, everything that I looked at this afternoon is exactly the same except those items. They added a closing date, the 2 repair items that we put on there, and the down payment are the only 3 things that changed.
My only question is why did they state why they don't want to cover any repairs? They just don't want to.
So I guess.
And I anticipated that.
Well, I kind of figured
The title insurance, I was questioning whether, I asked him if, is that for, somebody coming after we buy the building and something against the building shows up, we don't not aware of, is that gonna take care of that?
And that's pretty standard. I mean, I've purchased several homes, you always have the title insurance, the closing cost, the transfer fee, all those things are pretty standard. And usually it's split, just like it is in here, so.
The only other question I had is, on that one sheet, that they had some money stored, you know, that they would use for repairs of the building.
Right.
So when this is all said and done, with, I mean, they're probably gonna show 700,000 as income and then plus, because they really never told us what's left. Last we seen, they had 125,000 left in that income.
Right, we were told that they wouldn't have that there any longer. And I don't know what the amount
Actually,
is,
so
but,
that's a fictitious number.
The fictitious numbers.
so I don't
They got a
know.
lot of fictitious stuff.
So I think what we need to do is we need to decide if we're gonna have an executive session or not. Then if we're not, I think we need to move ahead with the business and finance, because a lot of this probably should be during the discussion.
Now, the down payment, that's going to be part of the total pay for the business.
Yeah, it'll get taken off at the end, yep.
So I'll wait till we get to that part, I guess.
So we're gonna scratch the executive session, move on to business and finance, approve the purchase agreement for the Jim Home Development Corporation. Ask for a motion and a second, and then we can have some more discussion. So is there a motion and a second?
Can we make it so that the down payment is included in the motion to approve the purchase agreement of the new gym facility for $700,000 and distribute a $35,000 down payment to them immediately upon approval of both parties?
I think we should then approve both of them, expenditure of the money and the purchase agreement as well.
That wasn't a purchase agreement.
It's in there, yeah.
Yeah, is there a motion and a second?
Yes, second.
Is there any discussion? Do I have to read the purchase agreement?
I don't think you need to. It's in the board packet. Like I said, because I was kind of curious myself this afternoon, so I took some time. I went down and subbed in the classroom and I took both the original copy and the digital copy. Like I said, the only 3 things that were different is they added the down payment, they added the closing date, which is the same exact date that Toby said we should put on there, January 15th or sooner. Toby thought that we could get it done sooner, but wanted to put the 15th of January just in case. And then, like I said, they took off the 2 repair items, which, when we had our last special meeting, we decided, we talked about that, what would happen if they decided not to repair it. And I don't think that was gonna change our minds on where we were going to go with the purchase of the new gym, so. It's a pretty standard agreement, like I said, Rory has seen it, their attorney has seen it, and now it's back in our hands for approval tonight, so.
I guess, yeah, mine was gonna say on that reserve, reserve money for that, make sure people know, I guess.
And, you know, that's something that I guess, we don't know the answer to.
Well, I know that's gonna say, yeah, we don't know, yeah, because that one sheet they gave us in 2016, they had $125,000. 2016, so obviously, we're stuck with the repairs, so obviously then none of that 125 went to building repairs, so.
I think some did, on the last financial I got, I think around 14,000 towards some repairs, but it wasn't itemized, so I don't know what they spent it on.
Yeah.
I know that right now, the biggest thing that needs to happen when we purchase the new gym is we get somebody to come and look at it. It's still decent in a couple places, not bad. And certainly our old gym leaks worse than that one does. But we do have a roofer coming, actually, he was supposed to take care of this one, but hasn't been here yet. But maybe he can take that one as well while he's here and give us a quote, yeah. I don't anticipate it's gonna be very expensive. I don't think it leaks very much.
So they'll probably just buy those couple of these.
Yep, I hope so, just patch them and get them fixed until we decide, you know, is it maybe have some come look at the whole of them and decide if it's happening.
Any other discussion? Do roll call. Kelly?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
BJ?
Yes.
Jerry, yes. Motion carries. 7.2, capital outlay certificates resolution approved. I'll have to read that one.
No, just read the title of it.
Yeah, I would read the whole thing, Jeff, it's huge.
Should I do that first or last one?
You could just read that part of it right there.
Yep.
This part right
It's
here.
27 pages long.
Resolution authorizing the execution terms, issuance, sale, and payment of limited tax obligation certificate series 2019 in their aggregate principal of not to exceed $707,000 of the Faulkner Area School District 24-4 of Faulkner, and Hyde, and Potter Counties of South Dakota. Now therefore it be resolved by the school board of the Faulkner Area School District 24-4 of Faulkner, and Hyde, and Potter Counties as follows. Need a motion and a second to approve the capital outlay certificate resolution.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? I guess the down payment money is coming out of what we already had budgeted for the grant. Is that how?
Well, it'll come out of the 700,000, so we'll pay it now, and once we get that 700,000, it just makes up for that.
So the money.
So it's not coming out of what we had budgeted,
So the money.
it's
that we
coming
had-
out of the amount we're receiving in bonds.
Okay, so the money we had budgeted for paying the rent, that money will still be there.
It'll still be there, and we'll probably have to use that for the payment that will be due in June. So tell me that again, who made the motion? Kelly?
I didn't.
And then I seconded it.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote, Kelly?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
BJ?
Yes.
Jerry? Yes, motion carries. 7.3, approve CEO Bid of $1,502 on the school pickup.
Yeah.
Mike Demery. And it's our only bid.
Correct.
$1,502.
Yep. I think that's a good number.
The dealership was only gonna give us 500 for the new pickup, so that's why we went out for sealed bids. If you do approve it, I would make it contingent on payment, however, since he did not include that in that.
Need a motion and a second to approve the sealed bid, $1,502 for Mike Demery, Henry.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Right.
Opposed? Motion carries. 7.4 superintendent evaluation.
Okay, as a board, I don't know how you guys want to handle my evaluation. The evaluation instrument is in there. Ideally what we would like to do is at the January meeting is to actually go over it and have the evaluation done and have the board conduct my evaluation and sit with me and talk to me about it. So you basically have a month from now until then to do it. So Jerry, I don't know how you want to do it, if you want to have them fill out their separate forms and then get them back to you. And if you want to, do you want to meet with them prior, or do you want them just to fill out the form and you combine them all?
Yes,
Then meet with me, I mean,
That's how we've been doing it.
Right.
We all bring our forms, and then we go in executive session, maybe we leave, and then compile the scores. And we go over copies and stuff.
Mhm.
Make master copy. And tell them that.
yep, that's fine. So do we want to do that during the regular meeting next month, or do we want to try to do my evaluation prior to the meeting? And start like at 5:30 and go into executive session right away and do it, and then come back out and conduct business, or do you want to do it in the middle, or?
I guess I'd be okay to maybe start the meeting early. I'd like to have that in the meeting.
It's fine, I don't care, you guys do it.
So start the regular board meeting at 5, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because this is gonna.
It'll take a while,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then, we go through the meeting and then conduct that, and then. Did you bring copies?
I didn't bring them, but I can make them. They're in the board docs. So what I'll do,
Could go through here and just. So you do it on the computer too, but.
I wonder if I can.
I'm a pencil paper guy. I might
Print
trace
it,
it.
it's in the lobby.
You want better have a piece of paper, yeah.
Can you pull up this evaluation, Craig, and pull up?
Want to have on the screen up there?
Yeah. Yep.
How many you want? Just. What do you want?
Enough for all the board members.
Front and back, probably?
Yeah. Just print the whole thing and they can just fill out what they need, because it'll be 4 pages each, so. We'll get them to you before you leave tonight.
How many did you say, Mr. Duffy?
One for each board member, so do 5 sets.
it's 8 pages long, correct?
Right, it's 8 pages long.
I thought you said 4.
No, it'll be 4 when you do front.
Yep, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Actually, do we need another one? We can get one by next board meeting. We can use one that where we average all the scores.
Right, do you want me to have him print you 2 off?
Sure.
Print 6 total. And you can use one for compiling and one for filling numbers, yeah. Okay, that's all I have for that.
8.1 superintendent.
Okay, I'm gonna buzz through this, I don't have a lot on there, and everybody can read, so I don't wanna take a bunch of time on the computer board. All right, last month I reported that we were using the local transit bus to transport our elementary students to and from the library. It's working out pretty well so far, and just like anything new, there's a few glitches, but nothing major. The kids are getting there and getting back in a very safe manner. It's more on our end, working out the time when we need to get them there, and then time to rotate the kids back and get them back to the school. But everything's working out very well, and I'm very appreciative that there's that service available to us to be able to transport our kids. Just as a reminder, the next one, lots of Christmas programs coming up in the next couple weeks. 2 of them locally here in town, and then 3 colony programs are at the end of next week. So just so everybody's aware of that. Mr. Cassens and I have started doing classroom observations. They're basically going to be ongoing from now until the end of the school year, and going very well. As far as I know on my end they are, and Mr. Cassens, we talked a little bit about them the other day, and I know that he's focused on those as well. And they take a lot of time, but it provides good feedback to our staff in how they're doing and things they can improve on, and things are doing really well at it too. So on Friday, January 3rd, our staff, certified staff, the teachers and administration will be going to an in-service on the 3rd of January. It's a regional in-service, and we do that with combined schools of Faulkton, Ipswich, and Redfield. Last year we also had Holden involved, and we rotate sites. Last year we went to Ipswich. This year we're going to Redfield, and hopefully when our new school's built we can have everybody here next year to do that regional in-service in 2021. We do have a keynote speaker. And then there's smaller breakout sessions that round out the day, and those are led by teachers. So we might have the special ed teachers all together. We put colony school teachers together, and they kind of talk about things that are working really well and things that don't work well, and try to share between the different districts, which is really nice. To try to increase communication with the staff. I met with them last month. I'm going to meet with them again tomorrow after school. And basically, I'm going to go into the high school commons and be there. And if 3 people show up, we'll sit down at a table. And if they have questions about the building project or about anything that was covered at the board meeting tonight, I will be there to answer those questions. If the whole staff is there, we will address the whole staff. And again, if nobody shows up, I will pack up and go back to my office. So it's just a way. I kind of heard, some concerns that, they wanted to make sure that they were in the loop on things that were going on. So I decided we're just going to have a regular staff meeting the day after a board meeting. So our first one will officially be tomorrow after school, and they're optional. They don't have to be there. If they have questions, they can come and I'll get them answered for them. And just so the board knows, tomorrow morning I'll be out of the office for a follow-up doctor's appointment from my back surgery. That's tomorrow morning. I'll be around and available in the afternoon tomorrow. That's all I have.
Anybody want secondary principals report?
I don't have anything. I closed Mr. Lepke's report. The thing that popped up on my screen was a physics problem. We could take time and go through that, but I don't think we really need to. So unless somebody's really bored and they want to.
I'm out.
BJ? You missed that? You missed half of our hard pass.
A hard pass for me too.
Mr. Chairman, I have nothing.
10.1 building project update.
All right, that should be up on your screen, or the screen up there as well once it loads here. As soon as Craig can get rid of the physics problem.
Oh, it's there.
The next owners meeting that involves BJ and Scott and myself, Craig attends those, will be December 19th, and the time got switched to 11 o'clock, and that is to accommodate the 2 teachers that I have added to that group. And again, that meeting's not required. I go to them all the time, and usually there's 2 board members present as well. And we just kind of cover things like the schedule and things that have been going on as far as progress on the building project. So that's when that meeting is. Just as some follow-up things, last month I reported on the electrical conduit. It was actually sticking out of the precast walls that were inadvertently cut off. Collins Colony has been back here on site, and they have fixed that issue, so that is corrected now. The roof is being put up. They started it 3 weeks ago or so. The goal is to have the roof in place by the end of December, so December 30th. And if you see the school, you'll notice that the whole addition that runs east and west is really dark on the inside. They've got most of that roof already in place. And they want to try to get that done so they can get it enclosed and start heating the inside. And what they'll do next, once they have the inside or the roof on, they will get some of the floor, the plumbing put in before they pour the concrete floor. And they'll heat it to where they can get the concrete floor poured. So that'll be after the new year, I'm sure. But that's the goal, and it seems that they're doing well. We'll find out on the 19th if the snow has caused them to be a little bit behind, which I'm guessing it probably has. Work continues on the concrete block work. Most of the music room is done. The storage area and the new stairwell is almost complete. The new stairwell will actually just go up to the roof to be able to access the roof so that we can access the rooftop heating and cooling units. And they started working on some of the inside block work walls for the lunchroom that will be in the new building. Today, I had a meeting this morning with Dean from HKG, and my head's still kind of spinning from this meeting. Basically, the whole purpose of Dean coming today was to start picking out some colors of some things. And so some of the items on this list, my superintendent resource team, we've met and gone over some of them. And I also had 3 teachers on staff go over some of the colors and some of the carpet samples. So wall and accent wall colors have been picked and decided on. The paint color for hallways and all the other areas has been picked. The carpet has been selected for all areas that are carpeted. All of the luxury vinyl tile for the commons area, which is the new commons, which is the lunchroom. The fax room and the science room has all been selected. The color for the ledge, it's almost like it's a synthetic stone, but basically they used to put, a lot of people would put wood as a window ledge. This would be like a synthetic stone. The color of that's been picked. The color of the baseboard that will go from the wall down to the carpet has been decided on. And the color for the cabinets and the countertops that will go in the classrooms. There's an identical set of storage units, cabinets, and counters that will go in each classroom. All the colors, they're Formica. All the colors and textures for that and the countertops have been picked. Now today, Dean and I went over tile that will go in the custodian closets and Jeremy's networking rooms, which is different from all those other ones. We went over, these things are all preliminary, not 100% decided on. The bathroom partition colors, the kitchen tile color, the bathroom tile colors for the floor, the bathroom tile colors for the wall, the sink color for the wash basins that will be in the bathrooms, the design that will be in the tile. We're trying to incorporate a lot of school colors if we can in some of those common areas. So we looked at a bright yellow tile with a black tile and doing some patterns, kind of like Gettysburg has in theirs. We looked at colors for Chris Ulrich's science tables that will be in his room, and the color for the resin tops, because those have to be different because of chemicals and heating. Those have to be made of resin. Color for his chemistry fume hood. What else did we do today with Dean?
Locker color?
We did locker colors. We did colors for, there'll be some heating units. We did ceiling tiles. We did ceiling tile grid colors. We did the tile, the different texture of the tiles. We tried to figure out a color for the wood doors, but we didn't get very far on that. I still have all of those available. So if anybody's interested in looking at some of those things, I have all of those color samples, of all of those things I just mentioned in my office. I sent Dean home with a gajillion samples that I didn't want in my office anymore. So that's the big thing right now, is like with the carpet, we have to get the carpet, get the RFP out so they can get the carpet ordered, and make sure they get it so that we have it, so that they can put it in. Those things seem like they're a long ways off, but before you know it, they'll be needing those and needing to get those put in, so that's been kind of an interesting process. There is still some asbestos underneath the old gym, the tunnels that go underneath. It's just insulation that's wrapped around pipes is all that it is. That has to be abated before they actually come in and do some work. And so Gary Snow with Snow and Associates, he does asbestos abatement. He's done all of the other work in our buildings. He's working on a big project at USD right now. As soon as that's done, he thinks right after the new year, so like the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th, he will be here to abate the rest of the asbestos that's in the building, because that has to be done before they do some of the remodeling work and things like that. And if some of you noticed, before it snowed, I think it was before it snowed, maybe right after the last big snowstorm, they brought in a lot of dirt and put it on the north side of the new building. Because if you notice, if you ever drive by the highway, you have to look up to see the bottom of the school building, and that's on level elevation with the rest of the school. And so they're starting to make that slope from the building back down to the highway. And so they brought in several semi-loads and double semi-loads of dirt. So that's all I have for the building project update. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Okay, we'll move on to 10.2, building project change orders.
Okay, in your packet, the first change order that you will see is a change order from HKG. The amount is $46,958.82. What this is way back when we started this project, we talked about hiring an independent soil compaction, a soil tester, and a concrete tester. And that was independent of Kybers Carlson and anybody doing work on the project. And so what had to happen is that obviously was going to cost us money. Right now, when that work is done, I look at the actual reports for the soil compaction, and the guy that does the testing will indicate any issues in red, and everything else is in black. And there have been a few issues, but we had to have that person here testing. Otherwise, the construction guys here could have just said, it looks close enough and let's pack it and forget it, they won't see it. So we hired a specialist to come and take soil samples and test the compaction. And he has found several areas, either in the area where the old building was and they had to dig out and put dirt back in, or in the new areas where we never had a building, like the east-west wing of the high school. And that cost, Dean has us add in $46,000 to take care of that. And so that would be a change order that we have to approve as a board. Any questions about that?
Yeah, that was never part of his architectural fee. You always said that was separate.
Yeah, but I think it was never really in the contract, so that's what this is. That $50,000 that's listed on there, that is this $46,958.
Toby has it listed here,
Right.
so does that come out of the owner's contingency then?
Yes, that would come out of our contingency. Because we're ultimately paying it, Dean's looking at it, and then I think he pays it, and we're sending a check to Dean.
I think it's already out of there.
It is.
So,
But we just have to officially approve it.
so how do we phrase that more motion, this document G701?
I think Lisa has in there HKG change order, I think.
I'm just numbering them, I guess.
Number one.
HKG change number one, and then Kybers change order number two.
Yep, that'll work. I'll explain the Kybers one why it's number 2.
Cause that is
Yeah,
So these are two completely different.
these are separate, yeah.
The one is for soil removal
What this is for,
and that was just.
what this sum is for soil testing only.
And concrete, right?
And, yep, and concrete.
Because he had less than reimbursable concretes and soil testing 50,000. That was on top of his fees of 560.
And when we went through the process, it just never got put anywhere, so this officially puts it in a place for us to be able to keep track of it.
But that will come out of our funds that we have here, nothing.
Yeah, the fund that totally showed us is listed right there.
It's in there, it's already in the process.
So we still have a contingency 388,000.
It's already being accounted for and been figured in there.
So need a motion and a second to approve change order number 1.
I just wanted it to be a change order because of our auditors, when they were here auditing us, they said we really should have documents in the minutes, reporting every, all of that.
So since this wasn't accounted for, except on the brochure, that's why you're getting these change orders. But it doesn't change any amounts of anything we've been talking about.
We'll make that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Building project change order number 2.
All right, so I'm gonna try to explain this the best I can. This one's tricky, and I'm gonna use an actual sheet from the proposal log, BJ and Scott, that we get at our owners' meetings. So that's what this is. If you look closely at, I believe it's the second or third page, second page where it says change order at the top. What it has on there is it has item number 1 is RFP number 1, which that happened early on in the project where when we bid out the boilers, we realized that we didn't have an air separator with a strainer for the boiler room heating equipment. So that was added on early in the process. Item number 2, which is RFP number 2, there were some electrical changes on the RTUs, which are also the heating and cooling units. That one is actually a deduct of $2,648. So between the two of those, we're ahead by $316. So it's a credit back to us. Then you go down and it says the following items are adjustments to the CMR contingency. So these items are coming out of the contingency from Kybers. So they have item number 3. This FCO, that stands for field change order. And RFP stands for request for proposal. So items 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 were field change orders. And if you start looking at them, change order number 1 is to relocate the temporary fence. That's a deduct of $404. And so what happened with that is when they put their temporary fence up around the building, they actually had the gate way past the 6th grade classroom. So when we would exit out that south side, we'd be onto the construction site. And that wasn't gonna work. And for whatever reason, I missed it, HKG missed it, Kybers Carlson missed it when they gave us the drawing for where that fence was gonna be. So while the guys were actually here on site, they already had the holes up and the fence up, and we asked them if they would move it. And so they stayed an extra morning and actually moved it, so we got charged $404. Number 2, close the tunnel opening. That, for whatever reason, was never part of the plan. One of the tunnel openings over by the back corner, kind of back by the shop area and where the new mechanical room's at, there was just an opening to the old tunnel that was there that never got figured in to close up. So they had the guys doing the masonry work actually brick that back in, and that's closed up, and we don't need to have access to it because we get to go into a different way to get to it. So that was a change. Number 3, field change order number 3, soil corrections under the demolished school. That's for $25,713. And it's a field change order because it's bad soil that wasn't gonna compact the way that it should have. So they had to dig out some bigger areas and then bring a certain kind of dirt back in and pack it correctly.
Well, there's something with a bunch that was too wet, so they had to take it back.
Yep, some of it was too wet, and that's where this number 4 comes into here, Scott. Field change order number 4, P-Rock electrical trench. That was backed by the new mechanical room. That was when it rained a lot, and they were digging up dirt, and it was too wet. So they had to bring in lots of loads of P-Rock to put in that electrical trench. They also had to add some crushed rock at the oil fuel tank location where they took out the old fuel tank behind the building. There were some, item number 6 is some door frame and hardware changes that had to be made because we made some door changes. Also, then the frame and the hardware has to be changed with it. Item number 9, which is field change order number 8, is a temporary ramp for crane access to set the precast walls. That was right out here on this front area. They had to bring in a lot of dirt and actually put dirt over some of the foundation and the footings to be able to pull their crane from the front part of the road up onto the site to be able to load panels. That wasn't figured in, and so that was $1,348. They had to make some duct changes at the elementary school per the architect, and that's basically due to the amount of space that there's going to be between the actual ceiling and the ceiling tile. They had to make a change for the size of that because they had the wrong size in there. And then here's item number 11, field change order number 10, which is soil corrections under the new school, which would be that east-west wing of the high school, is $18,286. So for the soil corrections, you're looking at about $44,000 in soil corrections. And then the last one, item number 12, is changes at the existing stairwell. They had to do some things there. That's always been kind of a tricky spot. They did that early on in the process to be able to allow for access into the tunnels underneath the old part of the building. They had to keep some of what they were going to take out. So with all of that you see underneath there, the total CMR contingency adjustment is they have spent $51,345 of their contingency, which leaves $202,211 in their contingency. So we need to approve all of those change orders with the dollar amounts so that we can use that, and Lisa can give that to our auditors. And if anybody has questions, I'll do my best. And maybe Scott or BJ will remember what some of those things are.
What did RFPs do?
Request for proposal. So basically what they do, Val, is they drop a piece of paper that says, we need this and this and that and this, and then companies use that to bid on. So it's all the requirements for the job.
Need a motion and a second for change order number 2.
Did we do number 1 yet?
Yeah, number 1.
Okay.
Number 1 was the all the alternates when we did the original bids.
No,
We
I meant
approved.
one before this, but we did the
Oh, yeah.
HVAC.
We did,
So,
yep. And that's why this one's change order number 2. Change order number 1 was officially all those add-ons and the new classroom.
Number 11, open forum time. Get any comment? Okay, number 12, the motion